Hey guys, welcome back to another session of Let's Talk Business with Suzette. I was having some technical difficulties, but I got through them, so we're all good and ready to go. So, for those of you who are just joining in, each Wednesday at 9 p.m., I host Let's Talk Business, where I have a special guest from different types of businesses that come in to talk about all things business. Today we have an extra special guest, one of my favorites, Mr. Kenneth Toppin. Ken is one of GTA's, I call him, one of GTA's top realtors. He is top 1% realtor and in the GTA. Today we're going to be talking about customer service, the client experience, and how you stand out in a saturated market. So if any of you are shopping around for houses right now, and you don't even have to be shopping around for houses, you can be driving, you can see that there's so many realtors. Almost everybody's a realtor now. So how does one stand out in a saturated market? How do you stand out? How do you make yourself, different than everybody else? So we're going to be joined soon by Ken, who's going to drop some gems on how he stands out and in the realtor course. So while we're waiting for him to come in, I'm going to talk about how I met Ken. I'll reintroduce my story when he comes on. So there he is. Hold on, let's get him in here. Guys, I still struggle with the lives. I am not a pro at this yet. Ken, where are you? Hold on. Come right in. Okay, guys, bear with me for one moment. I see him, but I can't get to him. Hold on. Struggle is real over here. There we go. All right. Ken?
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, twin.
Twinning, right?
Hey, twin. How you doing?
Good, how you doing?
Oh, I'm all right.
Late night?
Hard as usual?
What?
You're working hard as usual?
Like usual, man.
As
You put this
usual.
volume up.
No days off.
I know, right?
So I was introducing you. Saying that you're one of the top realtors to me. And in GTA,
Oh,
you're
boy.
top 1%. Oh, boy. Come on, to that horn.
Whoa,
Okay,
whoa,
top
whoa.
1% realtor. That's what you told me the first day I met you. You said I'm top 1%. Go check it out. So
I was trying to
first,
get
I'm gonna
your,
pick you up.
I was trying to get your business.
Oh, I know. I know. Oh, for sure.
Jasmine.
I want to tell that story, but first I'll let you introduce yourself and tell everybody in case they don't know. I know you know a lot of people. In case they don't know, I'd like you to introduce yourself to everybody.
Yeah, so name is Kenneth Toppin, real estate agent here in the Durham region. Been at it for about 10 years now. It's been a minute. Just recently left Century 21 not too long ago, and I joined up with Remax Hallmark. I would say 80% of my business is actually in the Durham region, with about 20% floating elsewhere. So I do know many people kind of ask me, do I only service Durham? No, but I definitely go elsewhere. But predominantly I do play in the Durham region. I have a fiance and have 2 kids, 1 3, and I have a terrible 2-month-old. So yeah.
I'll just say that.
It's horrible. Colic. You know what a colic baby is?
Wait till she's 13. Okay.
No, man. Colic is real. Colic has my eyes all tired. Colic is real. The colic makes no sense. Like you're fed, you're sleeping.
You have the energy, man. You know what? You needed someone to calm you down. You have too much energy, so this is it right here. That's what you needed.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, man, I'm excited.
Oh, she's so cute though. What's her name?
Ariana.
She just might be a singer. Well, congratulations.
Man. Thank you.
Congratulations, and welcome to parenthood again. It doesn't get any easier. Not the second time around. So, and you know what? They usually say that the second child is usually like The worst one? I don't know why, but they say that. I don't know if we're spoiled with the first one, and then we think it's so easy that we have another one, and then it's like, oh, no.
I finally try to make these like things, the first one better than the second one and the third one, and at the end of the day, it's just like,
yeah,
you don't know, man. It's whatever
no.
God wants to push out there. But yes,
You'll get through it. You're all right. You have that energy, man.
Yeah, man, I'm good.
It's easy now. Wait till she's 13.
Right on.
All right. So we'll get started. Today we're talking about the client experience, customer service, and how you stand out in a saturated market. So I was talking about, nowadays everybody, especially since COVID and people are opening their own businesses, a lot of people are becoming realtors.
Right.
So I'm going to start talking. I'm going to tell my story of how I met you.
Right.
So then I'll let you talk after. So I was looking to purchase a home, and I went on Facebook and I made a post and I said, you know what, I'm looking for a realtor. I never expected the amount of people to respond. I had about, I swear, over 50 responses within a couple of hours. And I would say 49 of them gave me the same response. It was a quick either DM or they messaged me directly on the post and said, hey, I hear you're looking for a realtor, DM me. There was one person.
Don't tell my secrets. They're gonna, these damn realtors on here, they're gonna
listen, hey man, nobody can do it like you, okay?
No,
nobody can do it like you. No one can do it like you. There was one realtor that sent me a video, okay? And that realtor introduced himself and addressed me directly and personally. And I was like, whoa, I didn't expect that. When I opened up the message, he was right there in my face. Like, hey, Suzette, hi, my name's Ken. I'm a realtor, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh, okay. I never expected that. But at the same time, he stood out. At first, I thought it was a bit much. I'm like, okay, you're kind of in my space. But he stood out. Honestly.
Oh, man.
But when you think about it, there's 50, I'm kidding you, I kid you not, there's about 50 people that responded to me within hours. And that you were the one that stood out. I was like, okay. And not only did he introduce himself, okay, and did it differently, he also told me to go check out his page. Nobody else said that. Everybody else told me, DM me, go ahead, I'm a realtor, hi, send me a message. He said, check out my stats. I'm top 1%. 1%, guys. It's right here, right? Not shy, okay?
Check it out.
Yeah, and he said so confidently. I'm like, oh, man, this guy's kind of like full of himself. But of course, I went to go check it out, make sure, he's backing up his story. And he is legit. So that was the intro. Okay,
right.
How I met Ken. I want to talk, and then I will tell more about our story later on. But
yeah. I
want to start off with, and first of all, let's talk about your clients, right? We had talked about this. You have such a vast number of clients, different clients. You have young clients, middle-aged, old, Black, white, Italian, Asian, so many different types of clients. How do you market yourself to such a large, vast number of people? A lot of times, we talk about target markets. You say, okay, my target market is female between the ages of 18 to 24. Very specific. I was looking on your page. I was looking for a picture, and I was searching through. I'm like, this guy services everybody.
Everyone, yeah.
But I actually saw on your page, you sell to everybody. So how do you go about marketing yourself to so many different people?
What a loaded question. Yeah. But you know what I would say first and foremost, right? Like the reality is that 70% of realtors are part-time, right? So that's a massive thing, right? So 70% are part-time. So the reality is while and this is an entrepreneurship in general, right? How many people are actually full-time dedicated in doing it? So the reality is whenever someone says, I need you to jump into this full-time and not do it part-time, it's just the fact that when someone is full-time and they're knee-deep into their business, they're always going to have an advantage over someone that's not focused full-time because they're there, right? So I think how we met, if there's individuals who are just DMing you because they're at work or they're doing something else, they don't have time to really, right, and maybe their social media isn't, they don't really have a page yet or a site because they're just doing it part-time. So when you have the ability to reach out immediately, and also have somewhere to look at, it's a lot easier to stand out from the crowd as well, right? When it comes down to how do I service a vast majority of people, you know what? Like, my biggest thing is having a niche within a niche within a niche, right? So, and being known for the best at what you do, right? So I think for myself in real estate, I don't hide the fact that I'm a Durham realtor, right? And I do service at a pocket in Ajax, where I do a lot of work down there, like a lot of work, right? I had one guy call me the other day, and he was like speaking hardcore Russian, and he's just like, "Can are you sell my house?" I'm like, "What?" I'm like, yo, I was like, "What?" You know what I mean? I'm like, it was such a hard language barrier, right? So I was like, "What?" And he's like, "I live on this street." I'm like, "This street?" I'm like, "What street?" He told me, I'm like, "Oh, okay." You only call him because I literally sell so much homes in that particular pocket because I focus there. Like, I have a really lasered focus, right, on what I do within real estate. So, there's real estate, you have residential, you have commercial. I don't do commercial. I refer all my commercial deals out. I actually just simply don't do them. I won't go to like London. I won't go to do a deal in Ottawa. I'm a GTA realtor. And within the GTA, I focus on Durham. So like, there's people in Durham that really like the fact that someone says I'm a Durham realtor. Then within the Durham real estate market, I don't really focus too much on like even Pickering or Oshawa or Bowmanville. I really nail down a pocket in Ajax Whitby, right? So the reality is, like, everyone in that niche pocket, whether you're Indian, you're Chinese, or you're Black, there's a subset of a population that just knows that Kenneth Toppin does good work, and it doesn't matter race at that point in time because they just know that I just do the work. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. So to elaborate on that a little bit,
Yeah.
some people might say, for example, I'm a new realtor, and I'll say, well, why would you just stick to one area? Why would you, like, if I want to buy a house in London, why wouldn't you want to take me to London? Because you're losing a sale essentially, right? So why is it that it's important to have a niche inside a niche inside a niche?
All right, I have a question. Right, I'm gonna flip it on you, Sue.
What?
I'm gonna I'm gonna flip it on you, okay? So,
Okay.
so what are you? Don't tell your personal business, but what like city do you live in?
In Oshawa.
You're in Oshawa, right? All right. And are you? Would we say North or South Oshawa?
North.
North Oshawa. Okay. And you're a millennial.
I would like to. Well, yeah, half.
Half. Okay, perfect. Yeah. So I have a question, right? Let's say say you were single, and say I was single, right? And you were online, and you were trying to find a guy, and I said this. Oh, and what's your background?
Jamaican.
And I said on my profile, I and Kenneth Toppin, and I only like Black women that live in Oshawa, that are millennials, that are Jamaican, that don't live in South Oshawa, they live in North Oshawa. And I only like women whose names start with an S, because I'm telling you, I will not date a woman unless her name starts with an S, unless she's Jamaican, unless she's Black, unless she lives in Oshawa, and damn well it must be North Oshawa. I don't care how good she looks. I don't care if she can be damn well Beyonce. If she lives in South Oshawa, I'm not dating her. If she lives in Brampton, I'm not dating her. She must live in North Oshawa. And if her name is Beyonce and she looks good like Beyonce, guess what? It doesn't start with an S, so I'm not dating you. It must be an S. If I came across and met you one day, you would be like, "Ken, I love you."
That sounds kind of stalkerish to me, but
But for example, the case is, if you saw that on my profile, you would be like, "Yo, I'm gonna give this brother a shot," because he really, really, really wants a person like me.
Yeah.
And that you will, and I would, my spirit will gravitate towards yours 10,000 times more because I know what I want.
Yeah.
Many people don't know what they want. They want everything.
Yeah.
Every girl.
Yeah.
They want everything. It doesn't matter.
Everything, anything.
Short, tall, white, blue,
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Give it all. I want it all.
And there's some people out there like that, you know.
It's unattractive.
Yeah, very.
It's not attractive. You know what you want.
There you go.
There you want.
This is why he's top 1%.
So
I flipped it off. No one's ever done that. No one. I'm gonna ask you questions. Okay.
So I think the point is like there are so many, for example, Suzettes that meet that criteria in North Oshawa. That's enough for me to have a very successful life. There are enough people in the Durham region for me to have more than enough that I can ever imagine to have. More than enough. So if someone told me today, because you're a Durham realtor and I'm in Brampton, I'm not going to use you, then you're just not going to use me. Yeah. I will still perform just as good or better than anyone else in Brampton. But but if you tell me you changed your website, Ken, or I'm not using you, then I guess you're not really using me. So I find that when you can drill down to a target audience and it's big enough, you know what I mean? Yeah. Realistically, if I made that criteria for a woman, I'd be looking for one girl for the rest of my life, and I may not find that. So the target audience is way too small. But once you have it broad enough, where there's enough food, your market would love you. Yeah.
No, and it makes sense, right? Because then,
all right.
And also, you also know the area too, right? You can tell people like that's
you know the area.
You know the area inside out and out.
Yeah.
If someone's looking to move there, they're going to ask you, well, where are the schools? Where's the grocery stores? Where's the shopping malls? And all those things that we don't have access to now anymore. But
on many price point, I find people, you know, it's funny about real estate. People tend to say the same things like, well, people tend to just care about the price and they want to know, they want that confidence to know, all right, Ken, you sold numerous homes here. You've seen numerous homes here. What is a good price for a end unit townhouse, 3-bedroom, 3-washroom? Tell me. I'll be like, listen, man, if you're paying anything over, you already know you're overpaying. If you know what I mean, if you're paying this, trust me, it's a good deal. So those are the kind of the things that we rely on. Like, you know, if someone told me a house was in London, Ontario, 4-bedroom, 3-washroom, asking for 700, I wouldn't know what that means. I'm like, I couldn't tell you if it was good or bad. I don't know the market up there. But if someone told me they spent $650 for a townhouse in Ajax, 3-bedroom, 3-washroom, I'll be like, take it, run to the hills, right? So that education is important. Yeah.
Someone's asking, if someone's outside of your catchment area, would you use would like to use your services, are you open to working with them? I think you kind of answered that.
Is it catchment in Brampton?
I don't know.
Ask or catchment, is that Markham? Or is that, where's that?
Or are they just saying, I think they're just saying like if
yeah, is it a thing? It's like my area, right? Realistically, like if you're like within like the Toronto real estate.
You said North or Port Hope?
Port Hope. So Port Hope is just in Durham. Yeah, that's actually not even too far. To be honest, right, is once I really have access to the MLS data, so people need to realize is that I'm on the Toronto Real Estate Board, and I have access to like, I have access to there. I have access to like north of Brampton, but in a certain region. Once I have access to the MLS data on my own, I will go there, no problem. So I've driven an hour before, not a problem, right? I've driven to Barrie before, hour and a half, not a problem, right? Once you start going like really 2 hours out, that's normally when I don't have the access to the real estate board, and I'll refer it out. But what I would do though, I'm with Remax, right? So what I do, I don't only just say I can't help you. I will find out the top Remax or the top realtor in that area, and we have a network, and I'll just refer you to that person to help you out, because I want to make sure that I know the area. I'll make sure that I'm not kind of giving you a disservice by servicing you somewhere.
Yeah. See, and that's client service right there, right?
Ah,
Right?
yes,
Like,
client
you see that,
experience.
right? Everything circles right back to that. I remember
There we
I
go.
asked you about a friend of mine was looking for a rental, and I asked you, and you're like, "No, I don't do it, but you can speak to so and so." So even if you can provide
It's
this the
true.
person, yeah, yeah, well, it's true, right? If you can provide the person service, I talk about this all the time. If you can provide service for that potential client, you can still send them off to somebody else that you know would take care of them, right? And that's still service in itself, even though you didn't provide them the actual service. Just
Yep.
by you saying, "Look, talk to this person," instead of, "Nope, I don't do it," and that's it. You know, go figure it out on your own.
Yep.
It's still service, right? Because in the future now, I may come back and say, "Hey, you know, now I'm moving to Durham. What was that nice guy's name who gave me the other person's, you know, contact information?" And it
Yep.
always comes back to that, right? It's about ending the transaction on a good note, no matter if the person books your service or uses somebody else, right? So
Exactly.
this is why I brought you on, okay? So second question, do you use a cookie cutter type of approach to all your clients? I know the answer, but I want to.
No, you know what? So, for example, there's something called, I'm going to be introducing this. I have a webinar coming up as well, but it's like a DISC personality test, right? DISC personality test. And the reality is like every single human being on this planet has a personality. Now, we all take these, and there's a bunch of different tests. Some have it orange and blue, or, you know, or yellow, you're yellow. But I find that the most comprehensive one is called a DISC personality test, where you're either dominant, you're a dominant person, you're either influential. So dominant, influential people are more extroverts, and then you have people who are steady, so S type, and then C type, calculative, right? And those are the more the introverts. And you have to understand who you're talking to, because if you don't, that's going to be a problem, right? So I am an ID personality. Like my score that I take, I'm an inspirational and dominant person. If I'm talking to and I'm an extrovert, right? If I'm talking to if I'm an S type client, they're more emotional based. I'm not emotional based in my decisions. My decisions are usually always based on numbers, facts, and it is what it is. That's my personality type. But there is 40% of people have an S type personality, meaning like they're going to let their emotions dictate their decisions, right? And people that are emotional based, they think on that spectrum. So you have to be able to understand who you're talking to and pivot and shift. It's very important, or you just won't get the business, right? People will, an S type person will think a D type person is insensitive. Like, I'm just not a sensitive person.
Yeah.
They're not sensitive enough.
And it will make, yeah.
Yeah.
And it will make the transaction really short, right? Because they're gonna feel that you're not relatable to them. They don't understand. You know,
Well,
you don't
even
understand what I
worse, you
want.
won't even worse. I mean, you won't even be their client. Like, they won't even use you, because like they just
Yeah.
fundamentally, like an S type individual must feel that you fundamentally care about them.
Yeah.
Like if I wasn't a realtor today and I needed to hire you, Suzette, as a real estate agent, I don't care if you like me or not. Are you the best person to do the job? If you were a stockbroker, I could care less if you like me. If you're the number, if you're Warren Buffett, I don't need you to like me. I need to get me the results that I want so I can get money from stocks. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's really that simple. If I'm looking to hire someone, what are your numbers? What are your stats? What have you done? And what have you done recently? You know what I mean? That's all. I don't need to know too much information because I'm a D type. But I don't even need to know how you're going to do it. All I know is that you're the best at what you do. I don't need to know how you do it. If you were a doctor and you're the number one heart surgeon, you've done it 10,000 times, you've done 100% success ratio, I don't care what scissors you use, just do it, because I'm a D type. But other individuals, they need to know what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, step by step by step by step. So you have to, and those are C types. So you got to really know your client very much, or they just won't pick you. Like me and you, to be honest. The next thing as well is we did this test before.
Yeah. Yeah. We did. Yeah.
That's why we're twins. Like you're an ID. You scored the same way I scored. So not only was I aggressive on the gut, on the punch when we first met, we actually have the same personality. So we kicked off very, very quickly because with the same personality. So I definitely profile my clients. If they're S type, I have to really remind myself to get into my emotional side.
Yeah.
and to really kind of
Fake
understand where
it.
they're coming. Yeah, yeah. I really need to fake it. No, I gotta pivot. I gotta
You gotta
pivot, right?
pivot.
If it's a
And that's,
seat, yeah,
yeah, and that's one thing that I noticed with a lot of small business owners. They don't know how to pivot, right? They have this one cookie cutter approach to everything, and then they say, "Well, they didn't book me. They didn't pay for my services." And I said, "Well, how did you go about the approach, right? Did you
right.
do the same thing that you did with me? Because you can't, like the way how you and I talk, you can't speak that same way with everybody,
Never.
right?
I can't.
Right? Yeah, and so it's up to you to know, again, like you mentioned, that person's personality, to understand that's actually part of your job, so that you know how to adjust yourself accordingly to get that sale, right? So a lot of times people just say, okay, this is, that's scripted. You know when you call into Bell or Rogers and they have that scripted
Right, right.
thing that they're talking to you like a robot? I'm like, oh my God, are you human or is this, automation? What is it? And a lot of times, unfortunately, small business owners do that, right? Where they have this cookie cutter approach and they don't understand that you have to adjust to each client. Each client transaction is going to be different. I could be having a good day and I could be bubbly and happy and, want to shoot the shit. I could also be having a poor day. You need to be able to recognize that, recognize the person's feelings, recognize their personality, and then deal with the approach the same way,
And
right?
there's even like I said, I'm not sure if you caught it one day, but I said something to you that I would only say to your personality type.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I didn't touch that.
Want to hear
No,
what I
I didn't
said?
touch it.
I was like, if you're ever in a situation where you're not getting what you want done, I will say I always blame you because you're smarter enough to actually always come out on top if you just kind of put your head to it and you're your
Yeah.
own worst enemy. So same here, right? Like I'm my own worst enemy. Like you know what I mean? So if I'm ever in an unfavorable situation, like with anyone else, I know that I could have done something to massage it if I wanted to. If I chose
Yeah.
not to, I chose not to. But just know that that's the case, and that's accountability, right? But
Yeah.
our personalities like result based, and whatever the truth is, the truth is, and we just rock with it and move on. But other people, I would have offended them. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But you don't
Yeah.
get offended because we're the same personality type, so it's
No, not
important.
at all. I have a
I
very
know.
thick skin. Very thick skin.
There you go. There you go.
All right. So next, as a realtor, how do you want your clients to feel about you? So we're talking about feelings, and I know you say that you're not a feeling person, emotional, but you want your clients to obviously get referrals. How do you want them to feel during that transaction?
Yeah, so my biggest thing is honesty and transparency.
Mm-hmm.
Like people people are not inherently just like my real estate lawyer Irena is listening to this right now, so she's
Yeah.
probably gonna like the reality put your trust in no man, right? The reality is you got to be very careful in this world.
Yeah.
It's a spiritual world, right? And as you get older, people know that you can't just walk around trusting people because it's a very dangerous world, right? So the reality is like everyone when they're meeting someone new, they always have their guards up for the most part because now they're wise. Back when you were younger and you're a girl, he said he liked me. Get in your
Been
30s,
there,
man,
done
keep
that.
your mouth
Yeah.
shut, man. I don't hear nothing. Yeah, keep it moving, bro. But when you're younger,
Yeah.
oh my God,
Yeah.
he said he liked my hair. No, he
Yeah.
just really definitely wants to sleep with you. You know what I mean? Like it's just
Yeah.
like it's like you know what I mean. You learn, right? You
Yeah.
learn the ways of mankind. So when you realize there's like people are yearning for honesty and transparency. They're literally like yearning for it, especially when it comes down to a money industry where it's a money industry where you're getting paid, right? So they're yearning for it. So they like transparency. Like
Yeah.
I'm wearing jogging pants right now.
Me
Facts.
too.
In a dress shirt.
I have a nice dress shirt on, but I have jogging
Yo,
pants.
top up. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
people like they it is what it is. Like
Yeah.
people like so I think on my end when people refer me, and I'm the same way. I'm very consistent. Like I want people to know that, right? Like when you meet me in person, or you meet me on camera, or you meet me on video, or you meet me on social media, I want like my clients always know like you know what to expect when you're working with Kenneth. Like he's just the same person all the time, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that's super important. So from a client experience standpoint, when they're working with me, I want them to really know that the advice that I'm giving them is 100% what it is, right? And I don't budge on my morals, right? Like your 2.5, you can hold that. I'll say, I will say, it's not because you're gonna buy a home and I'm gonna get a commission. Really and truly, I'm not gonna bend. I'm not gonna bend on my moral compass for anything. So I like it when my clients know that about me. Yeah.
Yeah, and I can vouch for that because I know that in the beginning we had a struggle where I wanted something in my head and you're like, no, not happening.
No,
That's not smart. Do
I
this
can't help
instead.
you. I'm like I
And for the
can't.
longest time, like with the rental of the basement, I was like, no, I can do this by myself. And then I'm a numbers person too. When you wrote down the numbers, you're like, look, if you buy a house that's this amount, but you have renters, it makes a huge difference. I
Yeah.
wasn't trying to hear that in the beginning, right? So I like the fact that you stayed true. You didn't just tell me what I wanted to hear because then I could have went ahead and got it and then been stuck and I'd be like, shoot, he screwed me over. Like he should
Right.
have known better, right?
Right.
And so that's also another part of being the professional that I'm coming to you for you to tell me the real, right?
Right.
I could think and know what I want, but does it make sense?
Right.
Is it going to make financial sense in the end? Is it going to be like for whose benefit is it going to be in the end, right? So you paint that picture numerous times. I wasn't trying to hear it. I was
Whatever it
like,
is,
no,
because
I want this. I'm sorry.
I mean, you know what it is? It's like, I mean, clients always do that. They always play this like this trick. Clients, right? You know what I mean? You know, they'll tell you how they want it to be done.
Yeah, yeah, that's fine.
Then when the end result isn't what they want, they'll flip it. They'll be like,
Yeah,
you're the professional.
yeah,
You should have guided me. This is
yeah,
your fault. This is
yeah.
your fault. You should have told me that I was going down the wrong path. This is
Mhm.
100% on you. So I'm going to
Yeah.
find you on Google. I'm going to find you on
Write a bad
Facebook.
review.
And I'm
Yeah,
going to find that review link. And guess what? You're going to hear what I have to say about you because, and you're like, but I told you, you know what I mean? So I made a decision. I'm not playing that game. No, 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 no,
yeah.
no. Listen, this is
No,
what I know. This is what I know is going to happen. And if you don't like it, then I guess you're not my client, right? I can't help you. But this is what
yeah,
it is. It is simply is what it is, right? So yeah, I remember in your case, the numbers just made sense, and I knew that the numbers would have just made sense in a certain way, and it is what it is, and I really do stand by it because I am working from like I've sold over 100 houses now, right? So at this point in time, I already have a model in my brain that's worked because it's now
yeah,
deja vu. I'm not really repeating any. Nothing's really new to me too much in real estate anymore. Now I'm in repeat. So every scenario, I've seen it already for the most part, right? So it's like, yeah, you make this income, have this down payment, it's what you're approved for, and you're by yourself. Okay,
yeah.
boom, yeah.
No. And it makes sense. Like that's what you're supposed to do as a professional. I'm gonna tell you a quick story because it was so traumatic to me. I went to the hairdresser. Now I'm a little bit half cheap. I decided that I was gonna do my hair before. I went and permed it myself, and then I went to the hairdresser about 4 days later to go get it colored. Now when you perm your hair, you can tell that your hair, like my hair was bone straight. I told her I wanted to get the color. She put the color in. My hair within like 2 days start to break. Chunks of it start to fall off. I called her. I'm like, what's up? What's going on with my hair? And then she said to me at that point, not the point I sat in her chair, she's like, well, you just permed your hair, so you can't put color in it. And I said, but you did. And she was like,
Right,
well, you wanted color. And I said, well, had I known that color would have broke my hair after I just permed it, I would have said, no, you didn't educate me. And as a
right,
professional, I come to you, I can tell you what I want. I can tell you that I want this look, but it's up to you to say, no, you know what? Give it another 2 weeks or so before you do it.
exactly,
And so I was really irritated because I felt that she was not being accountable for it. And as a
100%,
professional, you can't assume that I know that, right?
100%.
I look in the magazine, I want this hairstyle, and this is what I want. But as a professional, you interject now and say, you know what? I know this is what you want. Wait 2 more weeks. And I would have had my hair and not, be bald for
And
like
that's
a
why
month.
people don't. It's crazy. Like those, like that experience to me, right? Like if you're that business, whoever that business owner is, and
Yeah.
whoever said that, you will never be successful. It's impossible. Like
I was
that
going to her for
mindset.
4 years and I stopped going to her.
Yeah, that
That was like the
mindset.
moment I stopped going to her.
Yeah.
Yep.
And people wonder why like they lose business. And they will sit down and you will swear, I did
Yeah.
nothing. I don't know what's going on. No, like
Yeah.
come on. Like
How do you
that's right.
know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's definitely the onus. I'm very big on accountability
Yeah.
and 0% excuses, right? You know what I mean? And as a professional, you do have a lot of accountability and you really have to make sure that you're advising the right way. Not to be cliche, but that's the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it makes sense. Like you said, you've seen the scenario front to end. I haven't seen the scenario, so I can think and dream of how it should end, but you know that it's not going to end that way, right? So again, as a professional, you say, yeah, I know this is the house that you want. I
Yeah.
know it looks great on paper. It looks great in person, but financially, does it make financial sense for you to do this, right?
Right.
And then you play out, and then that's when it kind of made sense, where you're like, okay, no, this is X, Y, and Z. Consider these things. Because if I haven't seen it, I'm not considering those things. I wouldn't know to consider those things that could
Right.
possibly happen, right? So it does make a huge difference. Next question. Um, so what are some common mistakes that sales reps do you see they make often, do you observe, in terms of trying to sell a home, client service wise?
What mistakes do sales reps make?
Mm.
What common errors do I think sales reps make? Is this specific to real estate or just like
No, just in
say
general. Well, no, just in general. It could be just in general. As
yeah,
a
like I think
salesperson.
yeah, I think one of the common mistakes that probably one of the common mistakes is they don't have a consistent presentation that they use.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you're doing sales, like and whatever you're doing, you have to have a presentation.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to constantly be working on it, tweaking it, and perfecting it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And getting feedback on it so you can perfect it. So you can track what your stats are. Like,
Mm-hmm.
are you improving? Like, you know what I mean? So a common mistake is like, you've gone on 10 appointments and you've only converted 2 out of the 10. What are you going to do to convert 4 to 10, 5 to 10, 12 out of 10? What are you going to do? Are you consistently just converting 2 out of 10 just forever?
Mm-hmm.
And if is 2 out of 10 industry average, or what is industry average? And probably it's not industry average. There's probably a person doing 8 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
So then the question is, well, I'm converting at 20%, they're converting at 80%. What am I doing differently?
Yeah.
And what can I do to improve?
Yeah.
Right? And many people, because they're not working on one presentation. I have this, like when I meet a buyer, I have the same presentation.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't change. First time buyer presentation, done. I
Mm-hmm.
say the same thing and everyone loves it. So when I
Yeah.
start my presentation, guess what, Suzette? You're going to love what I have to tell you, and it's
Mm-hmm.
going to answer all your questions because it always does.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that's a big thing, is maybe not having a presentation that's tweaked, not tracking your results, so knowing if you are improving or not. Many
Mm-hmm.
people don't scale. Like really and truly, like,
Yeah.
are you scaling your business or are you not? Right?
Yeah.
It's not acceptable. Like I use strong words. It's not acceptable.
No, go ahead. No,
It
this
is
is real
not.
talk
I'm
here,
the
man. This
coach.
is real
No,
talk
but
here.
like you gotta track. Like, are you a bar? If you're a barber and you cut 30 hairs and you do 30 cuts a month, and you do 30 cuts a month every single month, and you've done that in 2015, 16, 17, 18, and
Yeah.
19, you're not doing good.
Yeah.
You're not scaling. Like, I don't know, like, or maybe you just want that level. But if you're always if you're a guy always thinking about improving, but yet your stats are not improving, that's a problem, right? So the idea is now, but are you tracking? Are you tracking and are you scaling? One of the other things is like having a pricing structure and sticking to it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And having a pricing strategy, sticking to it. Having commission breath is a big thing. Is where you just that you're too desperate for the sale as well. So and people can sense desperation
Yeah. Oh yeah.
from a mile away. You know what I mean? But I would say one of the biggest errors is not having a consistent presentation that you're practicing, that you're tweaking, and not consistently working on how you can improve your conversion rates. Yeah.
Just to add to that, with pricing and consistency, that's another common mistake that I see with a lot of small businesses. A lot of people they're working full time and then they have their business on the side. I'm like, you're booked every weekend, every day. You go to work and then you do your business after every single day. Why aren't you doing your business full time? Oh, don't make enough money. People don't want to pay it. Well, what are you charging? Well, sometimes I charge this, sometimes I charge that. Where's the consistency? And I can't tell you how often I hear that. I go, even with hairdressers, for example, photographers, a lot of freelancers, and they'll say, well, yeah, I charge a person $20. I might charge 40. I'm like, why is it changing? Where is the consistency? If I go to get my hair done, it's $20 this week. Why is it $40 next week for the same style? Consistency. The other problem is that they don't look at other people. Like, I think you need to compare yourself. Like you mentioned, you say, if someone else is doing 60 haircuts in a month and you're only doing 30, well, what is it that they're doing differently? And what is it that you could do differently to bring yourself up to that level
100%.
or pass it, right? So a lot of times business owners get stuck and they're just in that one bubble. Like, yeah, I can't grow. You can't grow because you won't let yourself out of it, right? Compare, see who your competition is. What are they doing? What are their prices like? What's their strategies? And you can either mimic it, because that's what people do, right? People want to say it's a copycat thing, but that's the reality.
Mimic the best and forget the rest. They call it, man. Mimic the best and forget the rest. The idea is that's what you do. Nothing's new under the sun. That's biblical. There's nothing new under the sun. I'm telling you.
Nothing.
We've been around. Egypt was a powerful nation. There were pharaohs and kings running around the place, guys. Like life is on recycle, right? So I don't think we have to recreate the wheel. I think we just have to mimic the best and forget the rest.
Of course. A prime example I was talking about the other day was Apple. Apple didn't come out with a smartphone. You remember what was it called, the Pilot? You remember the Pilot back in the day?
Oh,
that was even before BlackBerry.
Yeah.
That was the original smartphone, right? But they didn't scale up. Apple came in, they did the same thing. They took, the computers, they took their phones, and they just reinvented it.
Yeah.
And everyone's going to look at it now, right? So it's not about creating something brand new. It's about looking at what's out there and then maximizing on it.
There you go.
So that's something that's really important. I'm gonna be wrapping up soon, but it's very important. The team. So another thing that stood out about you outside of the video. So guys, just to kind of bring you up to speed, Ken here is a realtor. He is top 1% in GTA. I had hired Ken to look for a house, and I made a post on Facebook, got over 50 responses. Ken was the only person who sent me a video response where he introduced himself and he addressed me by my name.
There's my secret now.
Just sent me a, hi, I'm a realtor, send me a DM. He came out, he introduced himself directly. He told me to check his stats. He directed me to his page. Amazing. It's been an amazing experience since. So we're talking about client experience right now. We're talking about customer service. The other thing I want to get into is a team. So I did reach out to maybe about 3 other realtors. At the time, 2 others. There were 3 total. So you and then 2 other people. And you were the only person that followed up with me. And so I remember I reached out. We had quick conversations. I spoke to the other 2. And then I kind of fell off. I'm like, okay, let me think about it. And then within a week, I get a phone call. Hi, this is Anne-Marie. Ken's secretary. I'm like, who? I'm like, yeah. Oh, I'm like, the guy with the video. Yeah, him. Okay, hi. You followed up. I still said, yep, still thinking about it. I'll let you know. 2 weeks later, I got another follow-up call. So right now, this week, I'm talking about client experience and following up and the importance of following up, even after the transaction's completed. You don't just sell a home and then, great, congratulations, bye. There's a whole process to it, right? Because again, it's about how you're leaving that client. What's the last thing they're going to have of you in their mind, right? So that was something that stood out to me, and that's where I picked you, because I'm like, man, this guy's not going to let up. And he has a secretary. Everybody else, like one realtor was supposed to call me, and 2 hours after our scheduled meeting, they sent me a text, hey, sorry, I got caught up with something. That never happened with you. It's either you reaching out to me or Anne-Marie reaching out to me, right? And that's important to have a team. So I want you to talk about why you have, an assistant, because a lot of times people, small businesses, not just realtors, try to do it all themselves. They try to be,
Yeah.
the customer service. They try to be the social media person. They try to be everything. You have a team. Okay, your fiance is doing mortgages. You do realty, and then you have your assistant. Why
Right.
is it important for you to have a team?
Um, so here's the thing, right? Like this in business in general, one of the biggest mistakes that an entrepreneur will make is waiting too long to hire an assistant, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you have to pay a salary, right? And normally they will only hire an assistant only when their business starts to lose ground, right? When it starts to fumble, then it's like, okay, I'm going to bring you in, right? I also know that I'm an ID personality. So I'm not, my biggest weakness is paperwork, it's organization. It's not my genius. I cannot stand it. It makes me just want to blow my brains out. Like, I cannot stand paperwork and organizing, and I just can't stand it, right? I just want to go out there and talk to people and close deals and have a good time, right? Admin work, I can't stand it. And that matches my disc profile because my C type is like -13, the lowest that it can possibly go. So it's not my thing. So accuracy is also not my thing. So I realized like that was a weakness of mine. So I know on mine as well that I got an assistant a lot sooner than most other realtors, right? Many realtors wouldn't have had an assistant even now. There's many realtors that don't have an assistant that produce more than me, right? To be honest, right? And there's many, but I know my weakness, and good for them, right? If they can produce that much transactions by themselves and stay organized, then God bless you. But for me, I know I can't do, it's my weakness, so I make sure I had that person there. The other thing though is people wait too long to get the support, right? You can only do so much of so much. You know what I mean? And the problem is like you have to have an understanding when the client experience you're not going to be able to keep up with it. Right? It's very, very important. For me, um, I know in real estate, 60% of the business is in follow up,
Yeah.
and maybe that may not only be that may not only be real estate. I think in entrepreneurship in general,
Mm-hmm.
follow up is the main thing. Like clients are never like, hey Ken, want to buy a house? Sure. You want to buy a house? I do. Can I go out tomorrow? Sure. Go out tomorrow. You put an offer in. Want first house you see? Perfect. Done. Sale. That's not how business works. You want it to work like that, but it's not. I met you January last year, 2020, 2019. I wanted to buy, but my cat had surgery. And then my dog ran away, and I had to whatever, like just whatever people say, like whatever happens in life, life happens, and you have to have systems in place to remember to call people back, right? So I know that if I'm out here talking and doing my thing during the day and I'm showing houses, who's minding the fort, who's calling people, who's following up. So that's why I calculated, well, how much business am I losing from not having an assistant
Mm-hmm.
following up for me? How
Yeah.
much time did I call a person and they're like, oh, you didn't call me back. I went with that person. You didn't call me back. I went with that person. You add up that number, you're like, God damn, you just lost like
Yeah.
$200,000,
Yeah.
right? So yeah. So from a team perspective, that's why I did that. I wanted to make sure that every one of my clients' experiences they were pleasantful. And I know that if you're dealing with me only, it wouldn't be pleasantful because I'm not organized.
See, honesty, man.
Yo, these are just facts. Like I'm just simply not. It's like, but that's okay. Like when you are getting in a relationship, like I think, for example, my best friend. Oh, I have two of my best friends here. Irina Brooks and Yinky. But like one of my best friends in life is Yinky, right? And it's like we're polar opposites. Like we're legitimately polar opposites, but where she's strong, I'm weak, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So our relationship, even though we argue a lot, it's always kind of good because we can
Balance.
balance. That's a very good balance, right? So when you don't have this, and it's a problem. But once you get that balance, you're powerful. So
Yeah.
I got Anne Marie, and she's been a very powerful addition to my team and the client experience.
Yeah. And it makes a huge difference, like I said, because by the time she called me the second time, I already forgot about all the other realtors. I did. Even the two that I had followed, I seriously did. I seriously did, because at that point, they left it up to me. I said to leave it up to me, but they actually left it up to me. Whereas you're like, nope, call her again.
No, no, no.
And, and I appreciate it, because then I probably wouldn't have made a decision. I probably would have dragged it out longer. And so it definitely helped me in making that decision out of the 50, right? It's a funnel,
And
right?
then
I
you
had
also
50 people
know,
reply to me. I'm
and then
sorry?
you also know now that if you have any other friends and family where they need help, but you know that they need a person to be on top of them, to be there with them, you know, okay, you know what, if you go into Ken's team, he will
Yeah.
care, he will follow up, he will check in on you, he'll make sure you're okay. During after the transaction, Amarie's calling, is you getting the house okay? Do you have your keys? Do you are the appliances working? Like, are you okay? Do you need anything? Is the house what you expected? How's closing? Are you okay? Like it's an ongoing process of customer experience, right?
Yeah.
And it's important, or you're not gonna get referrals.
Exactly. I was about to say referrals, and that's another big thing. That's one of the easiest way to market yourself, because at that point, no one's, even outside of realty, no one's going to question your price. No one's going to question your commission, because they know, I heard about you, so that told me about you. She told me that you're blah, 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 blah. And at that point, no one's going to say, how much is your percent? How much are you going to take out? Because they know the
You
value of
want the
it.
experience, yeah.
Yeah, right. You don't have to sit there and market yourself and try to big up yourself. Although you love to do that, you're trying to be shy.
Whoa, chill, bro. Chill.
But yeah, so Ken, thank you so much. Is there anything in closing? Let me just see here. Everyone's giving you quite a number of compliments. We have Manhabi, who's in here? Minky, everyone's giving you compliments.
Oh,
This guy.
Mahit, my boy
Mahit,
Mahit.
yeah. Yeah, everyone is yeah. So, is there anything in closing that you would recommend to a salesperson, a small business owner, or even another realtor, in terms of how they operate their business and how important client service is?
Yeah, open the Bible. So, so no, guys. So you know what I find, honestly, guys. Like, we do live in a spiritual world, right? And the more spiritually in tune that I get with God, like it speaks volumes. You know what I mean? Like, people sense, when you, like, everyone has that grandmother, especially in the Caribbean community. You have that grandmother that you bring a boy over and she says, I mean, I know about that boy, and it's like, what? You don't know him, you never met him, you never spoke to him, but it's just like,
Yeah.
something about that brother. You know what I mean? And what is she reading? And when we were younger, we thought she was crazy old lady. But she was reading spirits, and she would see what you can't see. You know what I mean? And people get vibes, they get intuitions. Like, they know when you're full of it. Like, they know when you're battling something personally and you're trying to suck it up for the day. They know. They just know. And you have to understand that you can't hide, like, the spirit cannot be hidden from a person with wisdom, and they can see through you. So I always tell people, I don't see them, I see through them. You know what I mean? And that's a very powerful statement, and I think that people have to get a lot more, not to go on to people, everyone has their faith, but they want to, you know what I mean? But me is the Bible, Jesus, and God, you know what I mean? And that's what that's what I've done towards. And you have to be very, very spiritual sound to make sure you're not giving off different spirits, right? Sometimes people just read you and just like, you're just messy. Like, you're just, like, everything that you're about, I just don't want a part of. So I think that being spiritually grounded, knowing who you are, knowing what you stand for, right? I don't do like, I don't, like, I'm a realtor. If you're not approved for a mortgage, you're not approved for a mortgage. I'm not forging documents. I'm not trading income. Like, you can't buy a house. But if you can just find a way to pad my income, hook me up, I can go buy a home for I'm gonna buy a home for $1 million. You're gonna get paid 30 grand. If you can't afford the home, you can't afford the home.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not forging documents. You're not doing mortgage fraud. Like, that's not me. And
Yeah.
I'm never doing it. So find another realtor. And that's
Yeah.
that's my ground, right? I don't like lying. Like, so these are the fundamentals. What do you stand for? What are you about? And
Yeah.
just stick to it. And people will draw to you for you. And don't be fake and be real.
Yeah.
Only you can be the best you that you can be, right? So that's what I would say. Be true to yourself. Be real. Be spiritually grounded in faith, and you'll be okay.
Yeah. There you go. I knew you wouldn't disappoint. I know it.
Oh yeah, there you go.
I know you wouldn't disappoint. You know what?
Never.
And you made some really excellent points today. Excellent, and a lot of great feedback. Thank you guys. A lot of great feedback in the chat. One other thing now, because you brought it up, you talk about balance, work-life balance. One thing I'm going to throw out there: you take your Sundays off. No joke. I've tried multiple times to get you to show a house on Sunday. This man will not budge. He's like,
Nah.
no. Saturday, or he'll make it work. And that's, again, knowing that having that boundary, right? Stand firm. Like, nope, Sunday's my Sabbath. That's my day off. That's my family day. And you stuck to it. Not for any sale, not for anything. And I love
There you
that
go.
because you're grounded, right? A lot of
Yeah.
times a lot of small businesses were just running around like chickens with their heads cut off, trying to appease everyone, right?
Right.
And for what? Right, you're out there. Just, I used to be that way. I used to be like, am a little bit. I'm trying my best. But where you're trying to find a balance, especially when you're starting your business out, and you're so consumed by your business that you forget about your family.
Yeah.
I'm home, but I'm not home because I'm locked away in my office doing whatever it is I'm
Whatever.
doing.
Yeah.
So I think that maintain that
Guilty
balance
a
of
little
knowing,
bit.
okay, you know what? This
Yeah.
is my day off. And that's very important because even when we're working for people as employees, we get days off. Why don't we give ourselves days off when we're running our own business, right? We're scared that we're going to lose a sale. We're scared that, they might go to somebody else. But again, being different, standing out, having referrals, standing your ground, being transparent, all those things will get you the clients that you need to get, and that's the bottom line. That's the bottom line. So not everybody's for everybody, right? Like
100%.
I said, go with somebody else. So Ken, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mr. Ken Toppin here, top. Okay. Realtor. If you are looking to buy or sell anywhere in the Durham area, reach out to him. I will be saving this live and I will tag him into it. You can reach out to him. Thank you, Ken, so much. I appreciate it.
Okay, later.
All right, bye.
Bye. How do you exit?